Nina is an amazing energy, an amazing spirit, and I'm honored, and let's please welcome her today. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Jan. It's really wonderful to be here, and I'm honored, and I would just like to take a moment and connect. Good morning, come on in. So I'm very pleased to be here and grateful for the invitation. And as I step into this invitation, this past week has really guided me in what it is I wanted to share with you today. We all see the world around us in a state of chaos, with a lot of change, relentless change. Challenges, heartache, pain and suffering, tragedy, so much beauty, love, compassion, equanimity, empathy. So, contained in those words is a juxtaposition of the chaos of darkness and shadow, and the opposite of that on the other end of the spectrum, that is light. And we all know that there have been many, many events this past week. The most notable, mainly due to being the most reported and the most visible in the news and in the internet, is the tragedy in Paris. And the day before that, a tragic act of terrorism in Beirut. And the day before that, a 6.9 earthquake in Japan. So I know that we all stepped in here today, perhaps many of us with pain and heaviness in our hearts. But I'm here today to present to you and to share with you through some practices and through an experience and a shared journey. I'm here to share with you a concept and practices and observances associated with a term called sacred activism. One of my many teachers, Andrew Harvey, who is an Oxford scholar, a mystic, a healer, a translator of Rumi, is credited with coining the term sacred activism. And so what is that? It isn't protest. It isn't action born from anger or hostility or hatred or a feeling that there's something as a result of an event that is pushing humans forward into stepping into the war against this, the fight against that. That is of an old paradigm, and that's the paradigm of war, of conflict, and keeping us in fear. The highest energetic frequencies, the highest vibration that we can experience is love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And those are the 4 immeasurable qualities that can only be developed when we go inside, when we go within, into our internet, and step away from the external internet to allow ourselves to go into what Vedic tradition and Buddhist tradition refers to as the cave of the heart. So the cave of the heart is the dwelling place within which these immeasurable, and I'll explain that, the immeasurable capacities and qualities of true love, maitri in Sanskrit. True love, compassion, qualified with empathy, empathetic compassion, and joy, and equanimity. So those are the qualities and of the infinite capacity within each of us to develop within the cave of our heart through what I call sacred practices. That when we choose to engage in those practices of developing the infinite potential that resides deep within each and every single one of us, because we are spirits here, souls here, embodied in a human bodysuit, having a very human experience here on earth, right? And this experience on earth is not easy, is it? It's not easy. How many of you, don't be afraid to raise your hands because we're all in sacred space here. How many of you have ever stopped recently or in the past and thought, how can I go on? Who am I? How can I possibly go on? How can I possibly continue to coexist in a world that has all of that going on, that causes so much pain and suffering and heartache? How many? Yeah, me too. So how do we push the pause button? So when we step into that space of pain and suffering and anger and hostility and resentment, it lowers our vibration and it creates an experience where it makes it virtually impossible for us to flow love, compassion, joy, and equanimity to others, let alone to ourselves, right? Because when we're in that space of anguish, tears, anger, suffering, pain, thinking, how can I take one more day? How do I do this one more day? How do we do that? We do that with sacred activism. We do that by flowing into the space within the dwelling of our heart. And in a few moments, we're going to do a profound meditation that's going to guide us into that cave within each of us that is a sacred inner sanctuary within us. True love is not romantic love. True love is not love fueled by lust. True love runs deep. It's sacred. It's the love that binds us through the beads and the diamonds of divine love. Brahma. Brahma in Sanskrit refers to universal God. That connects us all. Brahma, universal God, connects each and every one of us through true divine love. The word love requires some redefinition because we've, as a culture, as a humanity, we've kind of lost, I believe, some of the meaning of true divine love. When we say, for example, oh, I just love that color on you. Oh, I just love hamburgers. Oh, I just love this. I just love that, right? Love means embracing ourselves, embracing others in a way of such deep, abiding love where there is no condition, there is no attachment, there is no ego. There are no expectations for outcomes. There are no conditions associated with true love. If we say, I love hamburgers, how can that really be an expression of true love when, if we truly loved that bean, how could we possibly eat the flesh of that bean? Right? True love, when it becomes possessive, there are conditions attached. That's not true love. That is a shift in energy that is beginning to become bound by judgment, expectation, and not getting our way. So take that inward and ask, how do I flow and express love for myself? Sacred activism begins within. It begins by flowing love inward from the inner dwelling of the cave of the heart, and it expands that universal ocean of love in the Anahata chakra, the heart chakra. And from that space, that love can flow and radiate to and throughout every cell, every fiber of your being, in body, mind, spirit, and soul. And from that, then, the auric field expands, and that love flows out. That's universal metaphysical law of how healing begins to occur. So that's one immeasurable quality of sacred activism, true love. What's the second one? The second one is empathy, empathetic compassion. Compassion. That we can listen deeply. Look into the souls of one another's eyes and connect to each person's soul. By listening, seeing, listening deeply, really listening, quieting the mind, zipping the lip, and refraining from talking. Instead, just listen. Sacred activism, empathetic compassion. Being able to see another and really connect and tune in and listen. And just maybe sitting next to someone that you know is experiencing pain and suffering. The mere act of sitting and being with someone is profound. Thought precedes action. All thought can be, if chosen consciously through intention, can be a form of sacred activism. My thought, my intention, my deepest desire and choice is to sit with this one being and to just see and be with and listen. And that one thought through that intention provides so much capacity for healing. And allowing that lotus of that heart of that other being to begin to open, to experience a little more joy, a little more peace, a little more comfort. And that one person experiencing that lotus within the maitri, the lotus flower of the heart to open, in turn allows someone else's heart to open. In turn, another person, another, you see? And it all begins to ripple out. But our hearts are not open. They are not open, and there is no capacity for our hearts to be open when we attach ourselves to what's going on in the world around us. And we can experience the empathy and the compassion and the love and the sorrow and the grief without becoming so overly attached that we retreat and we do nothing. We are a humanity that is evolving, and people are crying out for love. Sacred activism recognizes and acknowledges that we are all beings on a path, a spiritual path. When we awaken to stepping onto that path, and it becomes very conscious, right, as we begin to seek. And as we seek on that path, that can become a very introspective and contemplative journey. So we often hear one in conversation sharing, well, I'm on my journey. I've been on my spiritual path for some time. It's my journey. And we are in a space in time of what is being called the Great Turning. The Great Turning in consciousness, in evolution. The Great Shift. How many of you have heard of the Great Turning? Anybody heard of the sixth extinction? How about ascension? Okay. So what's happening is we are at this critical turning point in consciousness, in evolution. Gaia, Pachamama, Mother Earth, the Great Mother, is taking us with her through the birth canal. This is a very challenging labor. But we are in the process of shifting. There is an ascension taking place. People are awakening, and this conscious journey called spirituality is beginning to awaken for each and every one of us. And we're all in different places in our journey, yes? But here's the thing. Sacred activism, Andrew Harvey, Joanna Macy, Jean Houston, all of the luminaries that have been teaching about these topics for many, many decades. there's this point at which there needs to be a convergence. And we're beginning to move closely toward that point of convergence, which is going to be like an explosion of consciousness. We're like we can taste it, we can touch it, we can feel it. How many of you feel that kind of that expansion happening within you? It feels like something's bubbling, something's brewing, there's something boiling, and there's a sense of everything's shifting out there, and you just feel energetically, right? That, wow, something profound is happening. I don't know what it is. How many of you? Raise your hand. Thank you. Yeah, so this point of convergence is calling forth awake, conscious humans, each and every one of you, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Each and every one of you, everyone who comes here but isn't here today, everyone else out there on their path. The point of convergence is calling for collective consciousness in stepping together, in moving from the it's my journey, me, to we and us. Yes? To we and us. How do we do that? Sacred activism. We start going inside. Practice, practice, practice. Sitting. How do we develop the immeasurable quality of true abiding love and the immeasurable quality of empathetic compassion? We push the pause button. We make time and space a priority to go inside, to close our eyes, to set our feet on the earth, our hands on our laps, or our hands over our hearts. We close our eyes and we begin to breathe. And it's only through the pathway of our breath that allows us to go into the cave of our heart and to truly, truly, truly connect to that divine, compassionate, abiding love that exists within each of us. Not outside of us, not by anybody else. No one else can do that or provide that for us. That's our job. That's why we're here as souls embodied in a vessel. We have to have a bodysuit, otherwise our spirits would vibrate right out into a much higher dimension. But the Great Turning, let me draw back to that. The Great Turning is about, this is the first time in human civilization where the earth is going through a shift in consciousness. The whole universe, the whole galaxy, the cosmos is going through a shift in consciousness. And it's the first time in civilization where humans are moving through the birth canal with the Great Mother. Call it climate change, call it whatever you want, call, all this low vibrational crap that's going on. It's all a distraction. If you really think about it, when you let yourself really get attached to it, what does it do? It keeps us in fear, it makes us angry. It keeps our vibration down, low. The lowest, there's almost zero frequency other than density, and it just feeds more darkness, more resentment, more hatred, more helplessness, a lack of hope. It diminishes hope because it puts us into a place of thinking, I'm just one person, what can I do? What can I do? Well, there's a lot that we each can do, and that's sacred activism. That's stepping into the personal sacred practices every single day, closing our eyes, breathing, setting intention, shutting out the outer ears, tuning into the inner ears, to allow us to begin to hear the inner whispers of Spirit and the universal God, Brahma. To close our outer eyes and stop looking outside externally at everything that's going on and just letting that bombard our senses. Instead, opening the inner eyes of the intuition, the deeper knowing within. The third immeasurable quality is joy. When we close our eyes and we breathe and we honor the sacred practices that allow us stillness, that allow us to hear the whispers of our soul, that allow us to hear and receive the love of universal God, Brahma, we begin to experience a greater sense of peace, contentment, and inner joy. It's not like the giddy laughter joy, but it's a sedate, calm, peace, softness. And only in that space, that energy, can we open Maitri, open the beauty of our deepest, deepest divine heart and hold each and every being, human, non-human, sentient being, every living thing, every living being in pure divine love, to connect, to see, to listen, to give, and to receive. And that, a requirement, is to go within and allow yourself to begin to receive universal God's love, to receive the gifts, the blessings, to reconnect to Brahma. Joy is most deeply experienced when we're able to suspend our ego and suspend our judgment and really connect deeply to our deepest heart's desire. Our deepest heart's desire, our passions, inform us of what we're here for. When we ask ourselves the question, who am I? Why am I here? I don't even know why I'm here. Might be the self-talk that comes back. The reason that we're here is to evolve our souls, is to reconnect to love, true love, to reconnect to empathetic compassion, to reconnect to joy, to peace. When there's something that we desire for someone that we love, there's something that we desire, and we really want that for that person, but that person may not desire that. Is that true love? That's not true love. That comes from an expectation, a condition that I want this for you. And I can't possibly understand why you wouldn't want that for yourself, because I want that for you. But there's a violation in that, and that is not an expression of true love. True love is without condition. So a lot of what we see happening in the world right now is a very low, very dense, dark shadow, very low vibration energy. And so we can feel the pain and the suffering. But if we become too overly attached to that, we refuse ourselves the opportunity, the ability, the gift, and the essential requirement of what is needed to sustain life on earth. And that is the 4 immutable, immeasurable qualities of true love: empathetic compassion, joy. When we stop and pause, we breathe, we close our eyes, or we look into the eyes, and we listen, we hear, we begin to receive, we begin to see. We see differently. Those lenses of the external eyes and the external ears that have been plugged with habituated conditioning, patterns, propaganda, the constant bombardment of world events, all spun and contrived in terms of what messages we receive, what is withheld from us. Don't place all your eggs in that basket, please, because it is something that could lead to destruction. Placing our eggs in that basket and remaining focused on anger, despair, hopelessness only carries that density deeper. Does that make sense? It carries the density deeper. It doesn't allow for the transmutation into higher frequency, higher energetic vibration of divine love, empathetic compassion. It just breeds terrorism with more terrorism. It just breeds more of that which is not wanted. So we have to shift. We're in a conscious community of like-minded beings who've been very intentional and very passionate about our path, about our purpose, because we are among what we call the first wave of conscious, collective community who together, if we all leave here today and we all go home and we set the intention that I'm going to sit down and I'm going to carve out, I'm going to sit with my back against an oak tree and my feet on the earth, and I'm going to close my eyes and go within, and I'm going to breathe, and I am going to connect with the cave of my heart, and I am going to connect with divine Brahma, with universal God, with true love, with empathetic compassion and joy. And what's the fourth immeasurable, immutable attribute of sacred activism? It's equanimity. What does that mean? Equanimity means non-attachment. Because when we become attached, we become overly sympathetic, and the next thing we know, we're stepping ourselves into the pain and suffering of another. There's a difference between sympathy, over-sympathizing, and empathy. Empathy is the ability to be able to sit next to or be with and connect with another, or to connect with ourselves, to close our eyes, to breathe, and to connect, and to listen, and observe, and become the witness. These are among the deepest gems of Buddhism, the Vedic yogic tradition. To listen, to stop, to pause, to breathe, to become a witness, to observe. Those are the qualities that allow us to touch, to feel touched by, and to touch the experience that someone else has had without becoming so consumed by it that the energy just pulls us into fear, anger, angst, despair, and hopelessness. Because that puts us into a space of immobility, of not being able to act or to do anything. It just keeps us in that low density vibration. Does that make sense? Non-attachment, equanimity, balance. So we can feel and witness and see the pain, but we don't have to and shouldn't, because the world needs as many awakened, conscious beings on the planet as possible to shine as much love and compassion and empathy and joy, yes, joy, and equanimity throughout the planet, throughout the entire galaxy, as much as possible, because light prevails over darkness. And there is a lot of darkness because the light is shining brighter and brighter and brighter, and the more light, that just begins to illuminate more darkness. The darkness that we're seeing are the last desperate attempts of the dark shadows to hang on. We've all probably have had someone that we love who has been affected by any countless number of tragedies that have occurred. And that hits so close to home, but we can be supported and support ourselves in that. So let's do a bit of a practice today, a meditation, and I invite you to set your feet flat on the floor, take everything off your lap, sit up tall, lengthen the spine, because lengthening the spine allows the energy, the Kundalini energy, to open. It allows the potential for a greater flow of energy. Close your eyes. Draw a few breaths. Breathe in deeply. Let that breath flow from the base of your spine at your root chakra all the way up your spine into your back, your deep, and your front heart. Just take a few breaths. Deepen your breath. Allowing your eyes to be closed, allowing your outer senses to begin to soften and mute. As you breathe in through the nose, exhaling through the nose, you may begin to allow a 1-to-1 ratio breath, perhaps slowly breathing in for a count of 3 or 4 counts, slowly exhaling through your nose for 3 or 4 counts. Diaphragmatically breathing as you inhale at your navel, press out slightly. Allow the breath to lift and expand, rising into your diaphragm and filling your heart space. Feel the energy of love flowing into your entire heart center, your trunk and torso. As you breathe into the light, know that that air that first touches your nostrils and flows in through your sinus passages becomes instantly transmuted as you exhale into divine light, love, vital life force, vital chi energy. The oxygen that we breathe alone is not vital life force. It is through the intention that we breathe, that through the exhalation, it becomes that. Allow your heart space to expand. And I'd like you to just sit in this sacred space, and I'm going to chant for you a mantra called the Maha Mrityunjay, meaning victory over despair, victory over pain and suffering. You may wish to rest your backs of your hands on your lap, allowing your palms to face skyward, or resting your hands over your heart. Whatever allows you to connect, or resting one hand in the palm of the other hand. Just allow your breath to connect to the immeasurable qualities of true love, Maitri, empathetic compassion, the essence of peace and inner joy, and equanimity. Trayambakam Yadamahe Sugandhinam Pushtivaranam Uvakarmava Badanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. I meditate on and surrender myself to the divine being who embodies the power of will, of knowledge, and action. I open to the divine being within to manifest the form of fragrance in the flower of life and at the internal nourisher of the plant of all life. Like a skillful gardener, may universal God disentangle me from binding forces of my physical, psychological, and spiritual foes. May Brahma of immortality reside within me, free from decay, from pain, from suffering and sickness, and unite me in my own inner divine light and truth. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhanam Pushtivardhanam Uvakamava Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhanam Pushtivardhanam Uvakamava Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhanam Pushtivardhanam Uvakamava Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Pushtivardhanam Uvakamava Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhanam Pushtivardhanam Uvakamava Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhanam Pushtivardhanam Uvakamava Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhanam Pushtivardhanam Uvakamava Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshya Mamratat. O divine Brahma, allow the healing and the nourishing of the Matra Mrityunjay mantra to flow from the Vedas into my heart and soul. Allow the healing force to be awakened within me by this mantra as it flows forth, ripples from my body to my mind and to my soul. May it strengthen the power of my will, my knowledge, my action, my right action, my unblocking the flow of passion, joy, enthusiasm, hope, courage, and determination. May this vibration that now flows through every cell of my being awaken the internal healing force while attracting nature's healing agents, creating an environment within me where the forces of all converge. Please lift your hands to your heart. Place your left hand on your heart and cross your right hand over your left hand. Interlock the thumbs. Let your fingers open as you rest your palms and your fingers over your heart with wide open fingers in Garuda Mudra. May the divine highest consciousness within each and every one of us flow deeply to and through and among our hearts, our souls, our spirits, our bodies, between us, amongst us. Let us please universal God. Let us be opened in our hearts of united consciousness. May the seeds that have now been planted be nourished, be watered, tended, so that the lotus of the heart, the make tree of divine, true love, empathetic compassion, joy, and equanimity flow freely within me, above me, below me, all around me. Gently return awareness to your breath. Feel your feet grounded, connected on the floor and on the earth beneath the floor. When you're ready, open your eyes. Bring your palms together in front of your hearts. Lift your hands to touch your third eye, connecting with the essence and the energy of wisdom. Touching your hands to your lips, connecting and honoring the energy and the essence of truth. Connecting your hands to your heart, connecting with the essence of divine, true love, compassion, and empathy. Lifting your hands to rest on the top of the crown of your head, connecting to higher, highest source, transcending ego. Connecting and reaching the arms skyward, connecting to the light and truth of divine love, of universal God, of Brahma, Mother Earth, Father God, whatever your context, source, creation, creator, bringing all of these essences into our hearts. The light in me deeply honors and respects and cherishes the light in each and every one of you. Om Shanti, Om Peace, Namaste. Make eye contact with another being someplace, perhaps on the other side of the room, or just connect to your hearts. And please join me in the chanting of 3 ohms. I'll say something about Om. Its spelling is A-U-M, and it is a convergence of the tones and the vibrations of all human language, and it symbolizes beginning, a middle, and beyond, and it references the universal alignment, energy, and frequency of divine love, Brahma. So maybe you've chanted Om a million times, but that is an essence, a beautiful essence of what you're chanting. So if I leave you with one additional sacred practice, I encourage you, each and every one of us, to chant Om out loud or silently to yourself frequently, often as you can throughout the day, because that is universal divine love. It sends that ripple of that frequency and that vibration out into the world, into the planet, into the cosmos, into the universe, and it will be one of the most profound and beautiful ways that you can throughout the day flow love to yourself, open the cave of your heart, and flow that love and healing out to all of humanity, to all life on planet Earth and beyond. So please take a deep inhaling breath through the nose. Shanti, Om, peace, deepest namaste. Have a beautiful and glorious divine day. Namaste.